Hello and good evening. This is the Chopping Block. My name is the Cleaver, Colin Andrew, and tonight I have a very special guest, the Wizard of NoDQ, Mr. Stefan Osborne. Stefan, how are we doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. Day 3 of 3 days off, so I got to go back to work tomorrow, and that sucks. But this has been fun. It's been a wrestle-filled weekend. Actually went and saw OEW with Jerry the General Slaughter on Saturday night down at the Armory. That was fun.
Right.
It was a very average show, but fun. And even a small crowd really got into a lot of the spots. And there was a funny spot to me. I'm like, I'm finally watching sports entertainment where a guy came off the apron, to do probably a double axe handle onto the other guy. Or no, he came off the top rope to the outside, but there's no mats. This is just gym floor. And I'm like, woo! To silence. Everybody else in the crowd is like, is he okay? And I'm like, woo! Oh, he was fine. But I laughed at myself quite a bit that night. But fun night and fun weekend. So I'm looking forward to this episode of The Chopping Block. What do we have on the block for us, sir?
Well, we are going to touch base tonight on the Superstar shakeup. We're going to talk about what happened, and we're going to talk about what little changes we would have made. There was a couple shocking moments to me, honestly, with the draft, and breaking up sanity with Eric Young, being transferred or drafted to Raw, and breaking up the group, nor less. I was happy to see a few. I was real happy to see that Finn Balor went to SmackDown. I thought that it was going to be a really good fit for him, especially since he's been wearing those blue trunks forever. Might as well take the IC title back over there, because it was when Miz had it last time. It was on SmackDown, right? Was it transitional champion going into that? Because wasn't it like the Miz versus Dolph Ziggler?
And the Miz had it on Raw and then went to SmackDown and then lost it and it went to Raw, something like that. I don't know. I just know that when they broke the Miz away from the IC title, they took them and separated them. They're like, no more. We're getting into territory where you're breaking records, and we have to be real careful about when we do that. I'm surprised they haven't done it already. Chris Jericho is AEW. Vince McMahon should probably take that as a slap in the face, but maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's too wrapped up in the XFL.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't care. Obviously, we kind of all knew that AJ Styles and either Roman Reigns or Seth Rollins were going to jump over to SmackDown. And Roman Reigns is the better candidate. He's not the champion. So, obviously, the WWE champion would have to switch over to Raw. But they didn't show it, but we all know it's going to happen. Samoa Joe is going to be on Raw. He was out due to illness this past week and wasn't there for the draft. But with Finn Balor taking the Intercontinental Championship over to SmackDown, there's no place for that U.S. title to go but to Raw. So
they could have announced it. They announced. They announced.
And what's that?
I said they could have announced it. I mean, they announced Eric Young without him being there. They could have been like, or they could have put it on WWE.com. They did not. They also didn't announce where Nikki Cross was going.
Nope.
There's a lot of unanswered questions here. I think they could do with 2 mid-card titles on SmackDown, and then on Raw you bring back the Hardcore Championship, the one that's defended 24/7. That would be awesome. I wouldn't say lay down new rules publicly, but, have new rules for the hardcore matches to where, you're not liably, putting damage on somebody's body that is unnecessary. But still, though, I mean, you bring back the Hardcore Championship, you can bring back, you can bring back the European Championship, even though I think that should go to NXT UK.
should go to NXT UK. I would bring back personally a television championship because out of the era of Brock Lesnar we've had over the last number of years, we get left with all these championships that never get defended on TV half the time. So I think a TV title on Raw would be cool if they had them both mid-card titles on SmackDown.
Now, I have argued this point before. I am always a fan of more titles. And I know a lot of people that are a fan of fewer titles are very adamant about that. And I understand why they're fans of fewer titles. But for me, I don't feel like adding 2 titles to the brands makes it look like everybody's got a title. Because in reality, they don't. Like maybe 10% of the roster have titles tops. Like we did the math. We had everybody listed. I've got everybody listed right here in all 5 brands. A couple of extra titles is like 9-10% tops. And you could really use them because with titles come in built-in storylines. And all the storyline has to be is, I want that title. And there you go. Like you don't, it's maybe it's a crutch, but at the same time, it frees up manpower for storylines that could really use it. As opposed to, well, we have to make this really deep and sophisticated. No, it's a championship match. Like, all it needs to be is that guy wants what that guy's got. Period.
Absolutely. We stand back, was it 2 weeks ago on SmackDown, when Braun Strowman showed up and Samoa Joe. I mean, U.S. title, hopefully they carry that feud in the Raw. He was pretty much like, look, you know, I'm coming after you, but at the same time, he wants that belt. He needs a singles championship. You know, he's been a tag champion with a 10-year-old kid. You know?
Yeah. I think I fantasy booked that into WrestleMania, but it didn't happen. Although he did win the Battle Royal, which got me 2 points. Right. That was fun. But
I didn't get points on that, but yeah. I was thinking 2 outside the box, I guess.
Well, I hope they are sending Joe and the U.S. title to Raw, because I think Joe was way better utilized on Raw. And maybe it's because Raw is the land of the big guys, but it worked. And putting a heel Joe against a babyface Strowman is great. It's a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll be a good clash of the Titans, you know, needless to say. As much as I love Joe and I'm happy that he finally got a title in WWE, but outside of the NXT brand, I would love Strowman to carry that title around. Except it'd be like Big Show. Remember when Big Show was U.S. champion, how little that belt looked on him? It's like me with, like, you could buy at Walmart. Like,
yes.
You know.
I wish they would bring back something closer to the WCW, the original WCW. Well, maybe not even original. The late 90s version of the U.S. title. It was a lot bigger. It was a lot more classic looking. I think they could do a new age version of that. Something with a bigger belt plate that just doesn't scream, hey, I bought this title, or your kid bought his title and threw it over my shoulder.
I absolutely agree. The WCW United States Championship is like my second favorite championship besides the European Championship. So if I could ever get some replicas again.
The European Championship, for real? I don't want to belt shame you, sir, but the European Championship, really?
I love that. Yeah, I love that belt, dude. I love it. There's just something about it. So I was 12 years old in Myrtle Beach. There was this pro wrestling shop there, and I got to hold it, and it was like the coolest thing in the world. The back of it.
The purple one? Was it still purple?
What's that?
Was it still purple back then?
The backing?
No, the belt, the strap. Was the strap still purple?
No, this one was black.
Okay.
And a black front, the green backing. I don't know. It was beautiful, and I got to hold it. And that was the first championship I ever got to hold, and it was a real special moment to me. And I was like, I've always loved it. Like any No Mercy or WWE WrestleMania 2000 for like N64. I didn't care about being WWE champion. I'd beat whoever was European champion. I would just whatever, take my guys and dominate that.
My titles go in order. This one, then that one, and then the Smoking Skull belt.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I mean, if there was a spot halfway between first and second, it would be this belt with the NWO on it, but not the one that they advertised because it wasn't written right. But anyway, because the one that Hogan held, I don't know who spray painted it, but it was so flawed. It was so flawed.
Yeah.
So anyway,
terrible.
Are there any changes that you would not have made, or stuff that you would have done that just seems so basic, like that they just didn't do in the shakeup?
Well, I mean, the way they threw me off a little bit with Lars, to be honest with you. The way they had him come out on Raw was, it looked like he was staying there, and he comes out on SmackDown. So honestly, I would have liked Lars to be in the land of the big men. He needs to have big guys to dominate over. So SmackDown don't really have that big guys. Let's see. I would have found a home for Nikki Cross.
Absolutely.
I would have put her on SmackDown.
Yeah.
I'd put her on SmackDown. Had her win Money in the Bank and let her go. Because we obviously know where Lacey Evans is going to be come Money in the Bank. She's going to be in a title match against Becky Lynch. So, let's see. There was a couple. What's that?
I think it's interesting that for the first time since they debuted on the main roster, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are on separate brands.
Yes, which is weird because normally they try to keep, them together.
I know, right?
But I'm excited to see that because I want to see Sami succeed on his own without Kevin, because we know Kevin can succeed on his own without Sami. That's been made, that's been done, it's been whatever. These Sami promos, though, they're amazing. I'm loving it. I'm loving it a lot. I'm loving that he's playing off of, this is great, but I hate every one of you. He's doing a good job. I'm hoping to see it pay out for him. I'm excited to see him back. Kevin Owens dancing around with New Day. Big O. I see him turning and being like the next challenger on Kofi for the WWE Championship. If not Roman Reigns. So we're going to see Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns down the line for the WWE title because one of those two guys is taking it from him. So from Kofi. Just have it come down to who's who, because as we saw at the end of SmackDown, Roman punched Vince right in the mouth. And Vince sold that like shit.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, Roman he jumped for that Superman punch way too close to Vince McMahon.
He did. He didn't he shook him a little bit,
Maybe that was on purpose so Vince didn't have to sell one of those real-looking Superman punches. But it looked awkward from the beginning, and it started with Roman, so I don't necessarily blame Vince for the entirety of that. It just looked bad for whatever reason.
You got to think Vince is 72.
Yeah, and if that's the case, don't go for the fucking bump.
Yeah, because he's already had, I believe, like hip surgery and stuff like that too. So why agitate or risk any of that factor when you're 70 some years old and can walk away and enjoy everything you want to in life money-wise until the day you die, but you're still making bad decisions here for all of us. So you're just like your buddy in the White House. But
so I don't have a lot of moves that I would make either way, really. Honestly, it's not so much the brand that the people are on. As long as some of the people have switched, it's fine. It's the rut that they're in storyline wise with some of the people. Like, they just don't prioritize writing well for them or putting them in storylines at all. Just random matches and shit, which is fine if they're really great matches, but they're not. I don't think they're allowed to be really great matches unless it's fucking WrestleMania.
Yeah, the storytelling in WWE anymore is just ass cheeks, man. There's no plots to anything. It's just you get maybe 2 weeks of something, and then it's just like, what was the fucking point of that? Like, you know.
And the ones they actually do several, like 3, 4, 5 weeks of build for, they just completely ruin, overbooking.
Yeah, they shit anyways. So I miss the stuff, you know, that me and you watched when we were kids that actually had some storyline to it that could play out for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks at a time. You know, and it's not the same old 4 people versus 4 people, or 2 people versus 2 people, or how many times did we get Bobby Lashley and Finn Balor, or how many times did we get Bobby Lashley and Dean Ambrose, or how many times did we get Bobby Lashley and Bobby Lashley, and Lashley versus Lashley again, and Lashley versus Lashley, and you know.
Now, don't get me wrong. Back in the peak of the ratings, there was a lot of matches that just had no rhyme or reason, but they were quick, and they were just meant to move along, get some people out there that don't normally get to shine. I watched a lot of luchador matches that I could give a fuck about, but I'm sure those luchadors really love doing that on Raw. I'm just talking about watching it 97, 98, and most of 99. I have not completed 99 yet. But even back then, there was a lot of that. But there was also a lot of storylines, especially with large factions, that would take you through several months because you had so many members to work around and work with. They weren't afraid to take people that were in a one-on-one feud and have them do matches with other people and even get involved in other feuds and still manage to come back around and finish the feud with such and such person at the pay-per-view and then move on from there. And they already had plans. Maybe the finish to the match that ends that feud starts the next feud for one of those guys. They seem to always have a plan, at least for, let's say, half of the people on the roster that appear on every show. And we don't even get numbers like that anymore. Half would be great right about now. But there's people that never show up on the show that have great gimmicks and storylines built into their characters. Like, what the fuck were they doing with the Fashion Police for so long? Like, it's like they canceled their show, their little mini show, and then just sent them into oblivion. And it's like, what the fuck? These guys were hilarious. What is their problem?
Right. Or why build Bray Wyatt, Eric Rowan as this Wyatt family member into this Bludgeon Brother, and then you stick him with fucking Daniel Bryan as a vegan bodyguard, basically. And what's the point of that? And then what? You can't wait another month to pair him back with Harper when Harper is ready to return. So
maybe I can make the argument for them that the Bludgeon Brothers had a good run, but there wasn't much else to do with them other than what they had already done, which was just dominate everybody and who can beat them. And it's like, well, if you did it right, nobody can beat them, and if you did it wrong, then well, fuck, this was all pointless. So maybe go ahead and take the opportunity to break them up. Maybe Harper was in for a solid singles run before he asked for his release. Maybe that's why they broke him up.
I don't know, but him asking for his release is a real shame. He's a wonderful athlete. I mean, I've watched a lot of stuff on him. You know, he has different things in the network here, and he just seems like a genuinely good person. So
I heard he put on a ring clinic in the Worlds Collide event.
He did. Actually, I talked to you about that when we did the tea party this past week, and yeah, it was him versus Dominic Divakovic. Is that how you pronounce that?
Dijakovic.
Yes. It was amazing. It was spot on clinic, man. Check it out when you have time or when you get around to it, for sure.
I'll keep that in mind. There is one... Oh, sorry.
His reaction, like the crowd reaction, everything about it was just start to finish. To start of Dominic's music to end, or to start of the next match's music was just electrifying.
I guess I really have to check that out. There is one switch that I would have made, one shakeup I would have done that just for me, storyline wise, just makes sense, and it puts them in a much better position. Peyton Royce and Billy Kay, I would have sent them to NXT. Because they're heels, and they have no reason to keep the notion that they'll defend those titles on any brand. That just means that there's more contenders for those titles. I don't think they would like that. And there was nothing necessarily built into the rules of it. It was just Bayley and Sasha were intent on... they were intent on defending those titles against everybody, not just the Raw brand. So, if you send them to NXT, that forces them to defend those titles both on NXT, whoever they bring in, and they sometimes bring in people from NXT UK. But also SmackDown and Raw, because they are WWE Championship belts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would have been cool. I mean, I would have had Pete Dunne debut in some type of faction on SmackDown, more than likely, if I could have changed some things different, but have him kind of take I don't know, I think if he went on Raw would be a good fit for him. We discussed him going to 205 Live, but yeah, I would have put Pete Dunne on SmackDown. Would have been fine with me. McIntyre's still on Raw, right?
Yes.
I would have taken him to SmackDown too.
Well, if you're going to take McIntyre to SmackDown, I would make an argument that you should leave Lars Sullivan on SmackDown.
Yeah, they'll have a decent match.
Well, I just mean, maybe not necessarily turn the entire landscape of SmackDown into big men, but at least have a few more. And so in this case, you're sending Drew McIntyre somewhere where he's not the only gigantic fucker in the ring. There's at least Lars Sullivan. And
That's
the Big
true.
Show. The Big Show is still technically a SmackDown roster member.
Superstar. Yeah.
And you also have Reigns. So, there you go.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. Very true. So, I mean, we're looking decent with the shakeup. I'm looking forward to a few feuds. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. Like I said earlier, like Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns down the line. KO versus Kofi. Roman versus Kofi. I'm looking. I don't know how they're going to do with Heavy Machinery. I mean, obviously they're just going to probably get that little gimmick pop for 10 minutes or 10 weeks or so, and then they fade away, and they become like the Ascension, I guess. The Ascension that can do the worm.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, the argument I made was that they were a comedy gimmick tag team in NXT. They just happened to be pretty damn big compared to most of the competition.
Yeah.
On Raw and SmackDown, they are not the biggest guys in the locker room, and they are still a comedy tag team. So that's what they're going to be. I didn't really expect them to be like this dominant, awesome, because Otis Dozovich just has way too much personality for him to go out there and be some serious big guy dominating tag team. No, they were built for comedy, and that's kind of their role. And it sucks, but at least they get paid for it.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, that's, I guess, what counts. But, hey, I would, whatever. It is what it is.
As long as you're happy doing what you do. If they went into contracts with WWE expecting to be someday the World Heavyweight Championship, I'm sure that's what everybody wants to be, but I don't think either one should expect that. So if they're just happy being a mid-card comedy tag team and getting paid for it, then God bless them. But I don't think they were meant for much more.
Yeah. And time will tell, obviously, with everything else. I'm glad to see Buddy Murphy show up on SmackDown Live. Boy deserves it. He's been putting on clinics. I was honestly hoping for, Drew Gulak, too, to come on up, because Gulak is...
Well, the roster of 205 Live is pretty small. I don't think they could have brought anybody else up that would... They've already... And it's small even with a guy like Oney Lorcan, who's technically tag team partners with a guy that belongs to NXT. So, I suppose Mendoza could get drafted to 205 Live and join Carrillo, but that would just be another reason for there to be a cruiserweight tag team division.
I don't know, they might get there someday. You never know. But, I mean, we had three cruiserweights leave the show, main cruiserweights. We had Cedric Alexander, we had Buddy Murphy, and who was the other one?
They might be slowly recruiting everybody to other brands to phase out 205 Live. And then you can bring the cruiserweight title to the main roster and have it be defended like the women's tag team belts, where it's on every show.
Yeah, that'd be a cool concept, honestly.
No offense to Noah who covers it, but I wouldn't mind not having 205 Live to miss every week, because I don't watch it, but I wish I could. I just don't have that kind of time. I don't have another hour to add.
I watch enough to get by. You know what I mean? But there's too much. There's too much, and I've got a job and kids, and it's too much.
Because my thing is, it doesn't seem like a lot because it's only an extra hour. But when you start watching it, you have to watch it every week, which means you don't want to miss it. And sometimes that hour is that hour is the hour of television you miss.
Yes, sir.
Because there are other things to do in life than watch wrestling. I'm sorry to say that on a wrestling podcast, but damn.
Hey, it's true. I completely understand. There's times when I can sometimes have the opportunity to watch UK live at 3 o'clock when it's on in the afternoon, and there's some times where I can't right now. I can't do it right now.
Well, I kind of have to. So that expanded
I know. I'm saying I don't have to watch it right then and there. I watch it
yeah. Well, we know we always watch it. I watch Raw and SmackDown after the fact. I record them while I'm at work, and then I come home and watch them. Yeah. That's why I pay the extra money for the...
I have other stuff I want to do during the day. I can watch wrestling when I get home from work or, run around or whatever.
With what's in NXT...
I don't understand it's not at 3 o'clock here because it's 8 o'clock there, but hey, I'm not going to sit there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and watch NXT UK. unless I'm sick and it's a blizzard outside.
Yeah, I watch it when I get home from work on Thursday night because with what's NXT and the NXT party, that's gone from 5 hours of weekly television between Raw and SmackDown to now 7. It's like, fuck. Do I want to make it 8? It's like working an extra day on the job. Fuck that. So
right.
7 hours is enough.
Yeah. All right. So moving on, we're gonna move on to Prime Cuts, our main event for the night.
Right. All right.
We had the Shield's final chapter, final ride, final match. They had a live event in I can't remember where they were at. The Grand Square area, or
I think it was Idaho.
Somewhere where Seth Rollins was from. So, whatever. We got to see Dean Ambrose for the last time in a WWE ring, supposedly. It was
the Quad City.
The Quad Cities, yeah. There you go. Thank you, Stefan.
Iowa. Somewhere in Iowa.
It was your typical match. It was your typical expected match from the Shield going against Bobby Lashley, Baron Corbin, and Drew McIntyre.
Yep.
The same match that we have seen in some fashion or form or the other over the last 3 months. I saw that match in Cleveland at Fastlane this past March. It was kind of the same match without the table spot on the outside with Drew McIntyre going through the table and a couple, all hell breaking loose in the crowd deal. It was pretty much the same match. Seth Rollins came out with his newly modified Universal Championship that looks even more like shit. Got a Velcro strap to it now, and then on the back it still has the fasteners, but it's just for show. It's like you can tell it's straight Velcro straps now. Dean Ambrose looked good. Seth Rollins was actually wearing the vest that he wore on their debut back at Survivor Series 2012 when they attacked in the Ryback CM Punk John Cena triple threat match, which was a pretty cool homage to that. Ambrose's vest looked weird on him, but hey, whatever. I wish that dude all the best. I'm hoping to see him back in the game. I was really hoping for a swerve at the end. Somehow he's the one to go rogue this time and just like drills, because he knows Roman's on SmackDown. He just drills the shit out of Seth. He's the next contender for, he's like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm coming. I'm staying to take this from you. Straight heel turn, booted him down. Like, I would love to see that happen, but it didn't. I don't know, Stefan. What did you think of the match?
They were going to do that. Well, if they were going to do that ending, they wouldn't do it in that venue. They wouldn't do it at basically a taped house show or a video recorded house show. They would do it on Raw or at a pay-per-view. So I don't think Deaton was turning heel and doing a swerve or anything like that. I think he's either legitimately riding off into the sunset or he's going to be gone for a while so that when he comes back, it's way bigger of a surprise.
No.
Because it's been a curious thing for them to have announced it the way they did, as publicly as they did, that he was leaving. It's unprecedented. I don't think they've really ever done it like that before, and I can't imagine that he said to anybody or alluded to anybody that he was going to some place like AEW when he left. Like, I think he's just like, I'm done. I've made enough money and my body is still relatively healthy. I'm going to give it up now and maybe live to be 70 or 80 as opposed to 50 or 60.
That's true. He could have done something like that. Or, honestly, I think it'd be cool if he would still be in the business and somehow, like a trainer or someone to help work with, like giving promo or yada, yada, yada. Because, you know, Renee can make her money traveling as an announcer and, you know, this, that, and the other. And he can still work under a WWE banner just as a trainer or a coach or something like that. If he wanted to stay close to the business but not have to put his body through everything still. I think that'd be kind of cool for him. But from everything we see, I don't see him doing that.
I think maybe we'll get lucky and he'll go home to Las Vegas and gamble away all of his earnings and then have to come back to WWE and just be like, all right, Shield reunion. Let's make some money.
I mean, get the T-shirt ready.
Yeah,
do it.
I've already drawn up a T-shirt, guys. You don't even have to worry about that.
Got an idea. We're ready.
Half the protein.
Renee's got the blueprint.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm excited to see Reigns and Rollins on separate brands, though. I mean, as sad as the Shield breaking up and everything, I mean, I love this faction. This faction was great. They've held every single title there is as a faction.
Yeah.
Ambrose was the only one that didn't win the Universal Championship. They've held every other title. They've all held the WWE, all held Intercontinental, all held US, all held tag titles. So, hey, tops off to them. They've done everything. But I'm excited to see Roman without any of the Shield boys around. I'm excited to see Seth without any of the Shield boys around. Let them break out a little bit, and maybe down the road we get for the final time match. Who knows? It's WWE. Anything can happen. I mean, Hulkamania is still running wild, and it is 2019.
Yeah, that's true. So,
whatever.
Speaking of factions, I think we are at an all-time low as far as factions go in WWE. Are there any you would put together, and how would you present them?
Current roster-wise, yeah, man. Let's see. I would honestly, if Roman and the Usos were on the same show, I would have them automatically be a faction. And those three dudes would just tear it down. Obviously. I know I've read that Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows' contract, I believe, is up in September, and they have no intentions on re-signing. But with Finn Balor going to SmackDown Live, I would love to see Finn Balor officially reunite the club with Anderson and Gallows. I think that would be turn Balor heel. Let those three men just run rampant. They could be, honestly, like a new Shield if they were done right. Shield-esque. Like, mixed like the Shield and Undisputed Era together. As much as I want to see it, I wouldn't bring Undisputed Era up from NXT yet. They need to stay down and hold some territory down for a while. We lost a lot of star power from NXT. So, let's see. So I got a faction on each show. I would love to see a Wyatt family reunion with Nikki Cross added to the picture. As
Sister Abigail?
Yes, but pretty much she holds, she's the new urn. Like the Undertaker's urn, how they had that power. Like something about her just holds power over these three guys, and anything and everything she says, they just do. And she can come out, Nikki wanna play, and go play boys, and I think it'd work wonders. I would. I mean, I don't want to overbook with factions or anything like that. I see Ruby Riott and Sarah Logan are both on Raw, right?
Yeah.
I would just, honestly, I mean, I don't know how they're going to do it or anything, but I don't know, maybe just keep them in the tag team.
I mean, sure, they were probably the best two out of the team.
Yeah.
I think Liv was mostly there just as a third member.
Yeah.
She's gotten better, but
I don't
think she's the caliber either. Logan or Riott.
To write home about.
See, if I was going to book a faction, I'm in the let's recreate the NWO. Let's go big or go home, because it's been far too long since there's been a super faction that spans more than 3 or 4 people. My idea is the same that it always is. Triple H finally gets fed up with Vince McMahon fucking the company up, and he goes to take over with his superstars, NXT. And you can bring them all in, you can bring some of them in. The idea, though, is that it's not just a bunch of the superstars that are currently in NXT invading Raw and SmackDown. It's also the ones that have gotten called up and completely misused that are invading from the inside.
Your Sanity, your Ty Dillingers, your Nikki Crosses currently, your EC3s.
I would probably start it with an Undisputed Era just showing up on Raw or SmackDown and just taking over a main event or something.
Yep. Get a couple good high lows in, get a couple good super kicks in, hold it down. The roster's trying to help out. They can't do anything about it.
And as soon as you think,
imagine like Undisputed Era taking out like a Roman Reigns, like taking out Reigns, just obliterate them. And like him versus like a Daniel Bryan match.
So you do it on the main event of Raw, and you think it's just a Raw thing. Undisputed Era has shown up on Raw, and they're invading whatever. But then you do it again on SmackDown, and you leave it hanging like that for a week. And then on Raw, now that you think Undisputed Era is invading both brands, suddenly, because they go to take extra security precautions to make sure nobody can get in the arena. Blah blah blah. Well, then now there's attacks. And they can't find Undisputed Era, but then now you're like, okay, so it's more people. And then you just build it over weeks, slowly getting to the point to where you're trying to figure out what's going on, and then you figure out that it's, coming from the inside. And you go in a positive direction from there, because as opposed to the last invasion, it's not somebody else's company that's invading, it's our own company. So they might actually treat it right.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see Triple H cutting a promo. Be like, "You're goddamn right, Vince, it was us. We're tired of your crap, yada, yada, yada. We're here to take over. This is what's now. You were what's dead." Something along that, type aspect. That'd be really cool. That'd be really dope.
Yeah,
I should have done that a long time ago.
For me, as far as factions go big or go home, man. Honestly, the bigger the faction for me, the better. Just don't do 2 of those, obviously. But I'm tired of all these little 3 and 4 person factions. A 3-person faction is just a little bit bigger than a tag team, and New Day shows you that every time. They're the 5-time tag team champs, but they're a 3-piece, but they're not a faction. But blah blah blah, whatever. And 4 is not that much better. 4 at least is better, but it's not that much better. When you start having a faction that crosses all the weight limits, all the the events from the main event to the mid card to the opening act, you've got cruiserweights, you've got women, you've got everything. That's when you're a big enough faction for me.
Everyone can be represented in every match from that faction. Yeah, you have. That's kind of how it was back in the day. Like, remember when the corporate ministry joined together? We had the Acolytes as a tag team. We had, they had women, they had everything. It was a mega group. It's sweet.
That's my sweet spot when you've got somebody in every division, at least one person in every division.
Or honestly, DX, you could do that too, because you had X-Pac, who could be in the lightweight or mid card. You had the Outlaws, you had Hunter, and then you had China, who can be in the women's or in the mid card.
They were a dominant faction, and I would call them a faction, not a team.
Because there's 5.
But yeah, other than that, like, we haven't had that in a while. I think the closest thing we've had lately was the European, or the League of Nations.
League of Nations with what was it?
Because that was 4 people.
Alberto Del Rio,
Sheamus,
Bad News Barrett, and Sheamus. Yeah. League of Nations.
Yeah, and it was awful, and it wasn't even close to the sweet spot on factions. They were all in the same category.
It's fucking hot garbage. That's what that was.
It's like, what are you helping each other do? As soon as one of you gets a title, everybody's going to be jealous. Stupid.
Right. Exactly. So
I think probably for WWE, they're better at doing 3-person factions, but I'm like, come on, man, let's spice it up. Let's do an invasion. A gigantic fucking NXT faction invading Raw and SmackDown. It's time. They can do it right.
I just don't see Old Man agreeing with that. I don't know. I just don't see Old Man going for it.
Well, if a company like AEW gets a television deal like TNT and starts going live on Tuesday nights and providing actual competition,
maybe
that makes them have to make some changes or make some entertainment changes, make something else happen. There you go. Yeah, Invasion. Sure. It's built in, man. But now it's your own company. So they don't have to bury all the invaders because they were WCW guys. NXT could actually win a few.
Yeah, they can, promote from within. It's what you gotta do. And that'd be an awesome concept, so if anyone's watching this, make it happen. But so we're closing in on the end of our show here. We're going to get to the plugs portion of this evening. So, Stefan, is there anything that you would like to plug this evening?
Yes, you can find me on Twitter. Go to nodq.com/Stefan. That's Stefan. Or if you just want to find me on Twitter, it's at Stefan R. Osborne, OSBORNE. As always, the R stands for restricted. You can also find my regular partner on What's NXT in the NXT party, Jerry Slaughter, at NoDQ General. That's on Twitter. And if you want to find us on Facebook, please do not add us, but you can find us on Armbar. That is Jerry and mine's Facebook group. All caps, ARMBAR, ! There it is. So find us on Armbar. We are the admins. I got a moderator right here. We got a bunch of NoDQ mods. A few that were promoted from within Armbar itself. So there you go. I think we just hit 74 subscribers on our YouTube channel, Aftermatch. So you can find us there. That's all one word, AFTERMATCH, Aftermatch Wrestling. We are on our way to 100 subscribers. At 100 subscribers, we will go live with What's NXT. And subscribe to this gentleman's channel. And click the like button. Click the subscribe button. And I think that's all my plugs, sir.
Yeah. All right. You guys can follow me on Twitter at Colin26Andrew. Or you can follow my channel by clicking the button below. Subscribe, like, leave some comments, leave some love. Yes, check out Armbar, check out Aftermatch Wrestling, check out the NXT party. It's a show where Stefan and Jerry, and a lot of the time, your boy right here review episodes of NXT UK. Those go up on Aftermatch Wrestling, and they also go up on NoDQ. So support NoDQ.com. Aaron Rift, giving you the finest in wrestling news and entertainment. NoDQ/shirts will take you to Pro Wrestling Tees t-shirts. You can pick up a t-shirt from NoDQ. Our boy Stefan has NoDQ panel shirt on right now, as you can see. He also has his Wizard of NoDQ.com shirt available up for sale. So once you go over and snag that, I'll try to put a direct link in the bottom that'll take you guys there. Keep supporting Noah Foster, NoDQ/Noah. They'll take you to his Twitter and check out his 205 Live Matters and a Simple Stance on his channel, and also on NoDQ. And catch us next time on the chopping block. I'm going to try to get another episode up next week. It's been a very busy week. It's a holiday, so happy Easter to everybody, by the way. It's technically Easter Monday, but it's still observed, as my calendar and phone say, so we're going to say it. Stefan, I thank you for doing this episode with me tonight. I appreciate it. We had, some technical difficulties with Skype. You damned us again. This is why this setup is the way it is. It's a little weird, I know. I'm the host of the show, but I'm on TV. But hey, this is what we do. We figure out ways to do things, and we get shit done. So, Stefan, again, thank you so much for joining me.
No, thank you for having me. Yeah, maybe next time we'll figure out Skype, and the show will be back in your hands. In the meanwhile, you will probably be able to find this show on Aftermatch Wrestling, because that's the easiest way for me to get it to you, is just to post it and let you download it. We'll find out how Riff does it.
So I will plug my YouTube channel, I guess, real quick. It is Colin space Andrew, COLIN space ANDREW, all lowercase. You can find me there. Subscribe, share, like, comment, love, and in the words of Noah, let's help grow this wrestling community together. I thank you, everyone, for viewing, and until next time, this is the Chopping Block. This is the Cleaver, Colin Andrew, and the Wizard, Stefan Osborne. Have a good night, guys.